All right, sorry, I move around a lot and that doesn't always translate well when sitting. Sounds good. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay, cool. Let me repeat that. I'll go back up.
All right, take two.
All right, guys, so this is the last week of our Habits series, where we've been working through different practices that will help us grow in our faith when we make them a priority to do every day. So here's just a quick recap of what we've unpacked so far, because I know we've covered a lot, all right? Have a daily time with God, attend a weekly gathering, belong by connecting in small group, invest in others by serving and living generously, and tell others your story. So far we've covered habit. There's one more letter that we got to talk about today. And I want to know, have you ever gotten in trouble at home or school because of something someone else did? You know what I mean? Someone starts telling jokes to you in class and you join in, but the teacher only hears you. So you're the one that gets in trouble. Or maybe your friend or your older sibling had an idea that sounded amazing when they told it to you, but then it went horribly wrong. Like, I remember one time this dude named Victor convinced me to help him with something real quick, and I ended up getting hit in the head with a metal pole and went to the hospital to get 5 stitches in my eyebrow. I know, it was his idea. I'm the one that got hurt. You know what that is? It's influence. See, we all have influence in other people's lives, and because we all have influence, we all have the opportunity to be leaders. So in those moments, your friend or your sibling was leading and you were following behind them. But there have probably also been moments where it was your idea or my idea, your jokes or my jokes that influenced others. And so I want you to know that you have influence. You have the opportunity to be a leader. You know, our last habit that we want you to develop in this series is student leadership. Now, I can already hear your pushback as soon as I say that. Joe, I'm too young. I'm 11. I can't be a leader. Nobody would see me as a leader. I don't have any authority in my house. You think my parents are gonna listen to what I have to say? I don't have power or a title. And you know what? I'm not talented enough. I'm not smart enough or outgoing enough. I don't talk enough. Guys, I get it. I've been there before. I felt that way. Even sitting here right now talking to you, I feel like I'm not good enough of a leader to talk to you about leadership because I'm dumb. I'm terrible at finding things. I get anxious and nervous in front of people sometimes, and I have the memory of a goldfish. Those personal doubts, questions, fears, they're real. But you know what? They're not what God says is most true about you or even most true about being a leader. So I want us to look at this young leader in the Bible named Timothy. You know, apparently he was questioning his ability to lead because of his age. And he must have even had some doubters who told him that he was too young to be a leader. But you know what? Timothy also had a mentor named Paul, who was a pastor, a missionary, and wrote many of the letters in the New Testament. And so Paul writes a couple of letters to Timothy that we can still read today in the Bible. And so I want us to look at those to see what kind of advice that Paul has for Timothy and see what we can learn about being a young leader. So let's open up the 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. And so it says, "Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity." Guys, let's pause right there because I want you to hear that Paul says leadership is not about your age. It doesn't matter if you're 11 or 12 or 13 or 20 or 40. What matters is how you live. It's not about your age, it's about how you live. See, the way that you live will influence others for better or worse. Listen, I've done some dumb things in my life because I watched other people do them. I let people around me pressure me to do things that got me in trouble. Pressure me to make decisions that I regret. We've all had those moments. So what if we were the people influencing others and not the other way around? What if you influence people to live and look more like Jesus? Let's keep going because Paul says more in verse 15, okay? Let's read verse 15 together. "Give your complete attention to these matters. Throw yourself in your task so that everyone will see your progress." Guys, leadership is not about being perfect. Hear me. It is not about being perfect. It's about bringing your best. So you don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the best looking or the most talented. You just have to care enough about what you're doing to bring the best version of yourself to it. Your best energy, your best effort, and your best attention. So, you know, what version of you shows up to school? What version of you shows up to practice? Or your friends, or your family? You guys, too many of us go through life with minimum effort and then we act surprised when we get minimum results and nobody wants to hear what we have to say. When you bring your best and other people notice, it inspires them. and they want to follow your example. You know, guys, if I had to break all of this down to one sentence, I would say that leadership is not about you, it's about others. And that's amazing. That's actually a really freeing thing to think about, because when you realize this, you'll be more confident, not less confident. You'll be more confident, because then you know it's not about how old you are, how much you know, how important you are, how famous you are, how talented you are. It's not about you. Think about it. You should live as an example because it honors God and inspires others. You should bring your best to everything you do because it honors God and inspires others. When you get that, you will have more confidence as a leader. The people around you will be better because of it. So what does this actually look like? I know I'm talking about all this stuff. What does it actually look like to be a leader in your daily life? Let's think about school, for example. All right, when your friends come up to you with a dumb idea, you know those moments, right? We've talked about it. When they come up to you and they want to do something like eat Tide Pods, steal a soap dispenser from the bathroom and post it on TikTok, skip class, or maybe spread rumors about someone. How about instead of following their influence in that moment, you speak up and you lead your peers, which, side note, I think is kind of the hardest thing you can do as a leader, is lead your peers. It's easy to lead people younger than you. It's harder to lead people your age. But here's what I mean. Here's what this looks like. Here's an example. You know, guys, I don't think we should talk about Jonah like that. I mean, he's not even here right now. Justin, look at me. How would you feel if you found out we were saying these things about you when you weren't even here, right? You don't have to be a jerk about it, but you can stick up for people, right? That's what it looks like to be a leader. So how incredible would it be if you guys lived this way every day? What if we all decided to start living as an example to others and bringing our best to everything we do? You know what? Those are the people that other people want to be around. If you live that way, other people will want to be around you. They'll want you to influence them, and they'll want you to be a leader in their life. And so here's a question that I want you to process in groups. How can you use your influence this week for the good of people around you? Clyde, have a great week. We'll see you next week.